What's up, guys? How y'all doing? It's been a minute. I'm back in the land of the living. How are you all today? I hope you all are doing fantastic. I'm just going to tag a couple people here so we can get this party started, guys. I'm so excited to be here today. I really am. I'm super excited to be here talking about something that is really important to me, which is the Black business experience, guys. Passionate about the Black business experience. I've been kind of laying low, guys, because I've been really restructuring, rethinking, reestablishing my direction and where I choose to go going forward. I have realized that when I fell into this business realm, my name is Nikki Smith. For some of you all that haven't seen me, I'm your video business girl, and I started in the beauty industry with teaching business. I started focusing on the beauty industry, really teaching business to them, and it evolved into a curriculum and programs and coaching groups and books and all this stuff. And I realized it wasn't really about the salon industry anymore. It was just about self-employed people. I am a lover of business and people who choose to create their own journey and do it what needs to be done. So I want to talk to you all about something I've been reading about and studying. It's called racial capitalism. And let me first define what is racial capitalism. I'll tell you. It is a concept proposed by someone named Cedric J. Robinson, which describes the process of extracting social and economic value from a person of a different racial identity, referring predominantly to the extraction of value from those of a non-white identity. So let's just call it what it is. It's basically a way that you can use money, a way that you can take resources, financial resources, and devalue and basically change a person's entire mindset about how they live. That is what racial capitalism. It is a way to control a group of people by devaluing how they see themselves and how they see their ability to financially prosper, okay? I'm going to use an example of how people can be devalued. I have several. I just chose 3 that I can remember. I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, but there is a place in Chicago, it no longer exists, but it was called Cabrini Green. Cabrini Green at the time was the hood, like for real. The hood. It's been this regentrified and all of that now. It's now high-end townhouses and all of that in that particular area. But at the time, it was low-end, high-rise, slum-ran apartment buildings with gates in front of them and very institutionalized. You know, everything the people pretty much needed was on the corner. They could walk to the store, walk to the cleaners, walk to the laundromat rather. And so they kind of created a city within a city, and it was very poverty ridden and very crime ridden, and it just was not a place that if you didn't live there or if you didn't have someone that you loved that lived there, you just didn't go there. You didn't even go through there. So I am actually a lover of seafood. So there was a seafood place that sat smack dab in the middle of Cabrini Green. I don't even know if it's still there now, but it was a seafood place that people came from all over to go to, all over. So here I am. I don't live there, but I would always go to this area. And I told you, people don't typically come over there unless they live there. But this seafood place attracted a lot of people. So I would go there and get seafood. And let me give you the kind of the image of how this sits. It sits right in the heart of downtown Chicago. So downtown Chicago has an area that's always been an upscale area called the Gold Coast. Now, the Gold Coast sits right here, and there is literally a street. I don't remember the name of the street, but there is a street that divided back then the Gold Coast from Cabrini Green. So literally just a street. You cross over, you're in Gold Coast. You go back the other way, you're in Cabrini Green. And the shrimp place was sitting right on this perpendicular street. So as I was over there one day, I got my food and I said, okay, let me get up out of here. And I was approaching the Gold Coast. So I was approaching that intersection and I'm sitting there. And as I'm sitting there, it was just like an epiphany for me. I'm observing the differences in one side of the street versus the other. On this side of the street, which is the Cabrini Green side, you got liquor stores and all kind of shops, the type we typically see in the hood, gym shoe shops and shops that sell, the flashy clothes and the fly clothes a lot of us black people like to wear. And that was on one side of the street. On the other side of the street, you have almost kind of around the corner, but almost on that street, a Rolls Royce dealership. You have high-end, like little convenience stores that, you probably go in there and a bottle of water was probably $4. And you have all of these things that obviously appeal to a upper or higher socioeconomic class of people. So I'm sitting at the corner, guys, and I'm watching this. And it was literally like an invisible force field that said to everyone on opposite sides of the street, you don't come over here and we won't come over there. And I promise you, I sat there for a minute. I actually pulled over because it was amazing to me how, and it's a stop sign, it's not a stoplight, and I'm watching the operations on one side of the street and the operations on the other side of the street, and no one is crossing over. It was unbelievable to me at that time. And I was young, so I wasn't aware of as much as I'm aware of now. And this is where racial capitalism, I know, comes in. It was a unspoken rule that everyone that lived over there or dwelled over there knew, you ain't got no business over there, and they don't have any business over here. So these are the things that racial capitalism will teach us, the devaluing or the lack of value that we aren't supposed to be here and they know they aren't supposed to be there. There's another example I want to talk about. And this example I'm actually tired of. And next week, or actually tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about Black excellence in business. I want to talk about restaurants. I want to talk about our little hood restaurants, rib joints, hot dog joints, soul food spots. I want to talk about that for a minute. Now, I am your radical black girl, okay? I make no bones about what side my bread is buttered on. I have friends of all colors and genders and spiritual preferences, and friends. I'm not talking about just people I talk to. I'm talking friends that I can count on them. They can count on me. We visit each other's homes. I'm talking Ukrainian, Asian, Italian, everything. White. I got people that are Buddhist, Muslim. I'm clearly Christian. I make no bones about that. But I want to talk about the things that I see in the restaurant differences. I am tired of going into my restaurants, black people's restaurants that I choose to support, even when I don't like what they do. But I'm tired of going into those. And this is where also the devaluing in our businesses comes in. And it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and there are 5 things on your menu that you don't have. And you opened at 11 a.m. And this is repeatedly, guys. Or you don't answer the phone because you can't answer the phone because as self-employed people, we think we have to work by ourselves. I asked a person, I'll never forget this. It was a Friday night, and I was going to this is when I ate meat. I don't eat meat anymore, but this is when I was going to a place. I really wanted this barbecue chicken. They got the best barbecue chicken on the planet. And I called in, and it was during the pandemic. So I called in, and at that time, they were only able to let so many people in, and then the rest had to kind of line up outside. Now, again, I'm in Chicago, guys. In Chicago, it's cold. It is 30 degrees outside, so no one has pulled up to this place prepared to stand outside. And I called in. They finally answered. I said, can I place an order? The lady told me I'm not placing orders today because we're crowded. I said, okay, well, do you have an online option? She replied to me, and I'll never forget this. She said, we're a small business, so we can't afford to be online. And I replied to her without hesitation, it's because you're a small business that you cannot afford not to be online. So this is what happened. She didn't take the order. She's like, whatever, you come, you do what you got to do. So I got out the car. And I stood in this line with about 20 other people because only 5 are allowed inside. Now, it is 30 degrees. It might be colder than that. Football weather. And we're standing out there. Nobody's prepared to be standing outside waiting on food, right? So about 20 people in line, including me. Eventually, what I saw, because we couldn't take standing out there anymore, it was too cold. I saw 10 people or more get out of line and say, forget it. Now, that was 10 people had they had online ordering. They could have just, the order would have been taken, the money would have been paid, people would have been sitting out in their car. They text you anyway. They text you to let you know when to come in and get your food. They could have texted those people and been done. But this is the kind of stuff that our idea of how our businesses should be run, I now know from studying, and I'm going to go deeper into this as the week goes by, concerning racial capitalism. How we operate in our businesses is totally connected to how we value how we do business, the Black excellence, the Black experience. And this is something that if we want to change it, we can't blame anybody anymore on that. We have to do the necessary things about changing. Okay, let me go to my industry. Here we go, that I know all too well. I've been in it 35 years. Back when I was taking new people, I haven't taken new people in a long time. Back when I was taking new people, I remember I would get people and they would ask me, are you going to be there on time? And it was baffling to me because I've always been there on time. I'm early. Matter of fact, I'm never late. So as I grew in this business, I realized that the reason they ask those things is because the average salon and barbershop in Black neighborhoods, unfortunately, and I know this because I've experienced it, seen it in salons I worked in where I wasn't late, but all the other ones were, we have gotten into this acceptance, meaning the clients accept it, we do it, we get there whenever we feel like getting there, and we think that's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay, guys, for a client to be sitting there waiting on you for an hour, for not even 5 minutes. You knew that was your appointment time. You make your own schedule. If you want to come in later, book yourself later. And this is the type of stuff. I don't know whether you all know it. I've been studying this for the months that you really haven't seen me. I've been really deep in studying. I wrote more books that will be released in November. And this is the type of thing that are devaluing of how we see our financial positions and are devaluing. And this has been indoctrinated in quite a few of us, guys. Not everybody, quite a few. And I'm going to flip it in a minute. So if y'all getting mad and offended, give me a minute, okay? This is the type of thing that has been the norm in a lot of our Black businesses. So for those of you all self-employed, I'm talking transportation companies that pick you up late. I'm talking about catering businesses that come to the event 20 minutes before the event is supposed to start, yet they're supposed to be set up and ready to go. Anybody Black out there, and I love my people, so don't get me wrong, but it is something that our idea of valuing our businesses and the rules and regulations that go with them has been tainted, guys. So let me go to another example. Let me tell you about those of us. This is me, okay? There is something called racial capitalism. I just described to you what that is. And then there is something called racial capital. Okay, let me break that down. Adults with racial capital mindsets, okay, or high awareness of the systematic nature of racism, we are 7 times likely to pursue self-employment, okay? Let me read it again. Adults with a racial capital mindset or high awareness of systematic racism, nature of racism, are 7 times more likely to pursue self-employment than those with low awareness. Those with low awareness, and I'm going to say this, and I'm sorry, let me put it out there first if this offends anyone, but slavery was built on the backs of Blacks in the terms of building the economic structure, okay? When we started getting our footing or being able to do better in our lives is when we realized that taking control of our own lives in the form of opening our own businesses was the way to counteract or to control what we call racial capital. It was the way for us to now say, I make my own decisions. I can even sell to my own people if I want to. This was a way that we were now able to say, I can structure and be able to support and build my own financial future and not have to be subject every day to systematic racism, because it exists still today. Those with a racial capital mindset have taken the step and said, you know what? I don't want to be bothered with all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my own business. I can come in when I want to. I can do what I want to. All of that matters. I can now be the person that I want to be. Guys, you know, I'm getting a little warm, so I am getting ready to, I'm trying to get my little fan here so I can give myself some air. But those are people who have made the decision. So if that's you, I want to give you a high five, first of all, for making the first step, because I'm going to tell you to make that decision to say, I am going to be a racial capitalist, meaning I'm aware that if I go work at Joe Blow, my promotions and everything that I do might be subject to somebody who doesn't want me to grow or doesn't want me to have or doesn't want me to be. So I'm going to omit the middleman and I'm going to do my own thing, okay? But there's a flip side to that, guys. There's a flip side. Individuals, first of all, who might seek unemployment to evade racism or at least minimize their influence on their career, okay? That is also what a racial capitalist is. Also, let me go further. Self-employment, though, let me tell y'all something now. I've lived self-employed for most of my adult life. It does not automatically translate into financial success. Anybody that's self-employed out there that can attest to that, it does not automatically translate that way, okay? Because there are some things you must do. I have done them wrong. I have done them right. I've done them wrong again. I've done them right, but I got it now, guys. I got it. Self-employed black surveys, listen, were self-employed surveys, or surveys that basically did a survey for black self-employed people, I'm saying that wrong, found that a lot of people who started with this mindset of being a racial capitalist, and I don't want to be affected by that anymore, ended up in worse financial situations than as if they were working for somebody else. Did y'all know that? Okay, and there's a reason. I'm getting ready to get to it. I'll say it again. Surveys that actually took or did surveys for self-employed black people found that generally a lot of self-employed people were in worse financial positions than they were as if they had worked for somebody. And I'm going to explain why that happens, okay? This is one of the first reasons. Self-employed people, now this is according to the world standards, I'm going to spin it, were less likely to have a college education. Now, I don't believe you need a college education in order to be successful financially, but you do need education in some area. Let's go back to the restaurant owner. I actually asked a restaurant owner, I go to this little jerk joint. I don't go too much anymore, but I used to go all the time. Again, I don't eat meat anymore. But when I used to go to this place, I said, who's the owner? One day I just had to say something. I said, look, I'm not tripping. I'm not doing any of that. Please don't take this offensively, but I need to understand. I've been coming here for about 7 years, and this is a jerk chicken joint, but you don't have chicken wings, or they ain't gonna be ready for 2 hours. You don't have chicken breasts, or they ain't gonna be ready, or the truck ain't came and brought the breasts. I need to understand, and I'm not saying that no other white or other nationalities have this problem ever, but we having it too much. What is it that they have learned? What class did they take that showed them how to prepare food and how much to prepare if you're in this type of restaurant? There has to be a class or some form of education out there that can teach you how to be prepared as far as ordering what you need, as far as how far in advance to cook it. I don't know that business, but there's got to be something out there that teaches you how to be prepared so you rarely have this issue. Okay, so when I talk about education, I'm just saying learn your craft. Learn what it is that you do. Learn how to do it better. I don't care if it's a webinar, if it's a class, if it's a school, if it's a book. I don't care what it is. There are ways, even without a college education, to learn and gain the knowledge of what you do so that you can do it better and not find yourself in these positions, okay? So let me talk about it. The topic of this was about you are not a W-2 employee, okay? I need you to understand that. You are not a W-2 employee. What a W-2 employee gets that you don't. And I'm going to break down, there are 4 major benefits that W-2 employee people typically get that self-employed people don't. This is where, even though you had that racial capitalist mindset, you like, I ain't gonna deal with this. I'm gonna go into my own business. You forgot that you also gotta handle some things yourself. There is no one matching anything. There is no one putting anything away for you. So these are the 4 major types of employee benefits that someone that's a W-2 gets that self-employed people don't. This is where your financial success it'll rest upon these decisions. Medical. The health, I have had surgery 10 times now. 10 times in my life. I know what it means to be off 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks with no income. That means there is no medical. There is no sick time. There is no vacation time. There is no family leave, FMLA or whatever it is. I don't even know what it's called. That doesn't exist, guys. So that means that as you're making your money, you can't spontaneously spend like every W-2 person because you don't have a check guaranteed to you. Your health, it also means, and I have been very guilty of this, it also means that you cannot neglect your health. Your health, our health, because I have been guilty of it and God knows I've turned it around. Our health in our business as a self-employed person, I don't care if you're videographer, photographer, hairstylist, food truck owner, transportation company, tow truck company, barber, I don't care what you do. Your health literally is the difference in your business failing or succeeding. So we don't get medical. When you sick, you still got to go to work. So you cannot treat your health like someone that gets a check. That if they get sick, they'll get time off. If a woman gets pregnant, they got maternity leave. You don't have that. Okay? Then we talk about life. If I see another pass the hat for someone who has not taken the time to get a stinking $10 a month life insurance policy or just a little term policy, if I see that again, but yet all I'm looking at is red bottom shoes and purses that are more than what you got in your bank account, and I'm looking at cars with car notes that are more than the mortgage, if I see that one more time, I'm going to scream. We're gonna have to, I'm not saying you can't do nice things. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to shift your mindset so that if you're going to be a racial capitalist, someone who makes their own way and makes their own ticket, you can't spend your money exactly like a W-2 person. Then I want to talk about, so you need some life insurance. That's the moral to that story. You either going to have some life insurance or you're going to have some money stashed somewhere so that if something happens to you, you are not leaving all these people to carry the load and pass the hat and GoFundMe's and all this other stuff. We got to stop this, guys. We got to stop it. And I love my black people, but this is what I cannot stand. And if ain't nobody going to say something, I'm bold enough to say it. We got to stop living hood rich, period. Okay? If you self-employed, you can't afford to live hood rich. You can't afford it. Now let's talk about disability. How many people, self-employed, have disability insurance or some money somewhere that if you get, I'm in the hair industry. I do hair 4 days a week, 4 days a month, guys. That's it. They won't let me quit. It doesn't interfere with my coaching, my book writing, all the other things that I do. So I still do it 4 days a month. I realize that if I could break my finger, guys. I could literally just do something as simple as breaking this finger right here. This finger, look, you can't pump no spray without that finger, right? If this finger broke right here, I'm done for at least a couple weeks. I don't even have to be hospitalized to be considered disabled or my inability to do what makes me money. Now, the other things, praise God, if this finger broke, it wouldn't hurt it because I'm using my brain and not my brawn. But think about it. If you're a cook, if you're a driver, you got a transportation company, if you're a tow truck, if you're a videographer and you mess around, you can't even hold the camera. If you're a photographer, you can't even hold the camera. Okay? What are you going to do? If you become disabled, it doesn't even have to be something life-threatening. It could be something simple. Guess what, guys? If you're a W-2 worker, They got all kind of stuff. Again, they got FMLA. They got some jobs even have disability things. They have things that you can use your vacation time, your sick time. You can use all of that to take care of what you need to take care of. And then finally, retirement. Guess what, guys? Ain't nobody matching your 401k. Ain't nobody matching nothing. Ain't nobody putting nothing up for you. They're not putting it anywhere. I have been self-employed my entire adult life, and I've made poor business decisions that even when I had financial resources in the form of investments and retirement saved up, I've had to go through them twice. I now have them again, and I refuse. I don't care what happens. I'm not going through them. I got disability. I got all that back again. And I am not giving that up. I don't care what happens. I would give up a house first. I would give up a car first. I would give up things that I can easily accumulate again. I would go live with somebody first, because I have lived the life of knowing what it means to be off with no money, to spontaneously spend. Meaning, as an entrepreneur, you got to make sure you got it in the kitty to go to Vegas for 3 months or for 3 days and go gamble. That gambling money you got is money you need to pay the mortgage, pay the rent, pay your employees, pay for repairs to be done, sit in the kitty in case something goes wrong. I know what it means to have a business flooded on. I know what it means more than once. I know what it means to have a business shut down due to no fault of your own, stuff that just happens. And what are you going to do? You cannot live like a W-2 worker. Again, you can have a great life, but you got to plan your spending. Or you got to at least plan in your bank accounts. If you got a side bank account that's for your mad money or whatever it is, you got to know what's in the kitty that I can go to the family reunion or to the vacation with the family or whatever it is that you want to do. Take the kids to Disney World. I don't care what it is you want to do. You cannot live like someone that has employee benefits, that someone is going to look out for them in the event that they don't want, or they want to do something or something unforeseen happen to them. You cannot live this way. I've watched it for years, and I watch people fall. Me, myself, have fallen into trenches because I'm out here spontaneously spending. I done jacked off $5,000, not realizing, oops, I didn't pay the light bill. Whoops, I didn't pay the gas bill at the business. Whoops, oh Lord, I got to pay these employees. I didn't realize I needed this inventory. I don't live like that anymore. I got tired of living like that. And I want to say something. If you've taken that step and become a racial capitalist, defining or basically just destroying the idea of racial capitalism that says that you ain't worth it, that you can't succeed on your own, that you can't build nothing on your own. The devil is a liar. Yes, you can, but you will kill your own fate if you don't realize you cannot operate like a W-2 worker. Okay? And don't let nobody tell you that what it is that you've now inducted yourself into running your own business, it ain't worth it. You need to just go get you a job. You need to just do this. There are a lot of people that have succumbed to racial capitalism. They rather go work, and ain't nothing wrong with that, y'all. I'm not saying anything is wrong with either way. You've decided racial capitalism is where you gonna fall. I ain't doing all that. I'm gonna work for somebody. I need a check. I need some stable money. I ain't hustling for my money. That is fine. But don't knock the people who have decided they don't want to be in that boat. They are going to be racial capitalists where it won't nothing affect. They ain't got to deal with bosses or superiors telling them what they can and can't do, what they can and can't have. They make their own ticket. But for those of you all that make that decision, you have to change the way you think. Or as the statistics say, you will be in a worse position after you make that decision than if you had to just went and work for somebody. Now, I'm going to tell you, I coach a lot of people, a lot of business owners now. They are not all in the hair industry anymore. And I have told some of them, you need to get that business up. It ain't for the faint at heart, guys. It's not for the people that can't stand living with uncertainty. It's not for people that can't find themselves being comfortable, being uncomfortable. It is only for people who recognize that they are going to have to do things differently. They're going to have to position themselves differently. They're going to have to maybe say no when everybody else says yes. They're going to have to do things in a different way. Don't mean you can't do it, but you may not be able to do it every time that W-2 worker does it. Because when they punch the clock out at 5, they ain't think about nothing else. They ain't think about their business. They ain't thinking about nothing that has to do with their business. Anything happen up there, they are not responsible for it. None of that affects them. You cannot operate that way. All right? This is what I'm saying, guys. I'm going to be talking all week about this. I got all week all these different things I want to talk about. Tomorrow we're going to be talking a lot about Black excellence and what that means. What it means to be excellent or operate in Black excellence as an entrepreneur. What does that mean, guys? And I'm going to progress all the way through the week. Join me. Knowledge by Nikki at 9. I'll be on at 9 o'clock in the morning every day this week. Set your notifications every day. I got some things I want to talk to you about. I've been studying this stuff for months, really years, but hard for months to really understand the direction I needed to go. I now have opened my business up, my Aspire, which is ambitious, self-employed people investing in real entrepreneurship. I've opened it up now to people who are well beyond the beauty industry. I don't care. Again, like I said, if you got a food truck, if you have a small business, a small service-based business, that people are your business, I can help you. Okay? I can tell you how to do it wrong and right. How to do it wrong again and right, and how to not do it wrong no more. All right? This is what I want to offer to you. KnowledgeByNikki.com with 1K. If you all are interested, if you have any questions for me concerning this subject we talked about today, DM me. I'll go back and I'll check it later. And we're going to really get into this, guys. I want to see my Black people win. I want to see the Black economy win. I'm also going to talk about, I think Thursday I got it set up for the things that build the Black economy, guys. That's land, labor, and capital. That's it. Land, eventually you want to own something. You do. You really do. Labor, you can't, just because you're self-employed don't mean you can do it by yourself. That doesn't mean that. And capital, you got to make sure you got some money. So I am now mastered teaching people. I've done it, how to get business credit, how to use it, how to maximize it. I now am at the point, praise God, that I can get up to $250,000 without using my Social Security. Who knew, right? It took me years to do this. And it took me, I messed up some stuff, had to fix it and get it back. And there's a strategy to this thing. And it's, you got to be consistent. It ain't I do it 1 month and then I'm done. No. I will be opening up. A friend asked me would I start a course. I've always done classes on business credit, but you need somebody to like hold your hand like I had to go through this and tell me, okay, do this first, and this second, and this third. So I will be putting on just here and there. I'm going to start a business class, a business credit class course. It will last for 6 months. I will walk with you for 6 months to make sure you do everything you need to do, because this is also one of the ways you're going to be able to build that racial capitalist mindset, not capitalism. Capitalist mindset is you're going to have some other resources on how to get capital other than digging in your bank account and using your Social Security. So see me tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central. This is Knowledge by Nikki at 9. Any questions, DM me, or you can go on my website, knowledgebynikki with 1K.com. There's a area there. You can email me a question, but we're going to get down into this, all right? Peace out. Have a great day. All right, guys, it doesn't want to let me off.